I sat in my car for 23 minutes before I admitted what I was doing, watching, through the window of Terrazzo where I'd made reservations 6 weeks ago, anniversary dinner. 3 years together, 1 year engaged. I'd requested the corner table because Celeste once said she liked feeling tucked away from the world with me. She was at the bar instead, laughing, with Jade and 2 women I didn't recognize. Her head thrown back, that laugh I fell in love with, big and unashamed. She was wearing the green dress, my favorite. I wondered if that was intentional, if she'd planned to meet me later and wanted to look beautiful. I wondered if I was being paranoid. My phone showed no new messages. I'd texted her 3 times, the last one 40 minutes ago. Should I be worried? Through the window, I watched her pull out her phone, look at the screen, show it to Jade. They both laughed. She typed something and put it away. Nothing came through on my end. That's when I knew. Not suspected. Knew. But here's the thing nobody tells you about moments like this. Clarity doesn't feel like relief. It feels like drowning in shallow water, like you could stand up and breathe if you just remembered how legs worked. I thought about driving home, pretending I never saw. We'd done this dance before. Her carelessness, my accommodation. 6 months ago, she forgot my birthday entirely. Not the dinner, not the cake, the actual day. Remembered 4 days later and cried so hard I ended up comforting her, apologized for not reminding her. That's the thing I'm not proud of. How many times I made her failures my responsibility. My therapist, yeah, I'd started seeing one 3 months ago, secret kept like contraband, asked me once why I stayed. I gave her the romantic answers first. We had history. She understood me. When things were good, they were incredible. Dr. Okonkwo just waited. Because I'm afraid she might be right, I finally said, that no one else would want me. She didn't tell me that was wrong. She asked where that belief came from. I'm still working on the answer. I walked into Terrazzo at 8:47 p.m., an hour and 47 minutes past our reservation. The hostess gave me a sympathetic look. She'd seen me check in earlier, watched me wait at the corner table for 30 minutes before I mumbled something about stepping out. Celeste's table went quiet when they saw me. Not silent, quiet. The difference matters. Marcus! Celeste's face did something complicated. Surprise, annoyance, then a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Babe, what are you doing here? We had dinner plans. Jade snorted into her drink. One of the other women looked uncomfortable. Oh my God! Celeste pressed her hand to her chest. Was that tonight? I thought, didn't we say tomorrow? We didn't. I could have sworn. She was already rewriting it. I'd watched her do this dozens of times. Reality was clay in her hands. Well, come join us. Girls, scoot over. I made reservations 6 weeks ago. Corner table. Marcus. Her voice dropped. The warning tone. Don't do this here. Do what? Make a scene. Be dramatic. It's just dinner. It's our anniversary. Something flickered in her expression. For a second, I saw it. She'd known. She'd known and chosen this anyway. But the mask slid back so fast. Babe, you're embarrassing yourself. Go wait at the table. I'll be there in 20 minutes. I don't think so. Jade leaned back, arms crossed, watching like this was entertainment. Trouble in paradise? Stay out of it, Jade. Wow, rude. She looked at Celeste. You sure about this one? Celeste laughed, light, dismissive. He's just hungry, gets cranky. That laugh, the same one I'd fallen in love with, now weaponized. I think we should talk, outside. I think you should calm down and stop acting like a child. Celeste.
Maybe it was my tone. Maybe she saw something in my face that scared her. She grabbed her clutch and stood, making a performance of inconvenience. 5 minutes, then we're doing dinner like adults. Outside, the September air was sharp. She hugged herself, and for a moment, she just looked cold and small, and I wanted to give her my jacket. Old habits. "What is your problem?" she asked. "I watched you look at my text, show it to Jade, laugh." The briefest pause. "I don't know what you're talking about." "I was in the parking lot, Celeste. I saw you." Her jaw tightened. "So you were spying on me. That's healthy." "I was sitting in my car trying to figure out if my fiancé was dead or just didn't care," got my answer. "You're being so—" She stopped, recalculated. Her voice softened. Okay, I'm sorry. I lost track of time. You know how Jade gets. But I'm here now. We can still have dinner." "No." "No? What do you mean, no?" "I mean, I'm done. This relationship is over." She laughed, waited for the punchline. When it didn't come, something shifted behind her eyes. "You're not serious." "I am. Because I was late to dinner. One dinner? Because you don't respect me. Because this is a pattern. Because I've been making excuses for you for 3 years and I'm exhausted." "Marcus, I'll move my things out this weekend." She stepped closer. In the streetlight, I could see the calculation happening. Which tool to reach for? She chose fear. "You'll regret it if you ever leave." Her voice was low, steady. "You have no idea what you're giving up. You think anyone else will put up with your anxiety, your overthinking, the way you shut down when you're upset?" She smiled, but it was sharp. "I've been patient with you. That patience has limits. Walk away now, and when you come crawling back, and you will, I might not be here." I should have had a perfect response. I didn't. "I don't know. Maybe. I guess we'll see." She blinked. "What does that mean?" "It means I don't know if I'm making a mistake, but I'm making it anyway." I walked back to my car, hands shaking, vision blurry, not from tears, from something more like pressure releasing. She called after me twice. I didn't turn around. I sat in my car for another 11 minutes before I could drive, not because I was second-guessing, because I was terrified of how free I felt. That should have been the end. It wasn't even close.
The thing about planning an exit is that it requires you to be two people. The one who stays, going through the motions, and the one who's already gone, packing invisible bags. I'd started planning 3 weeks before the anniversary dinner. Not consciously at first, just noticing things. That my name was the only one on the lease. That my gaming setup and books and desk could fit in a truck. That a job listing in Portland had been sitting in my bookmarks for 2 months. I applied on a Tuesday, had a video interview on Thursday, got the offer the following Monday. Celeste was in the other room posting outfit photos when I accepted. Told me later she'd had a really productive day building her brand. She'd quit her job 6 months prior. We were going to plan the wedding, she said, focus on our future. Mostly, she focused on Instagram stories that got 40 likes, half from bots. I should have said something then. Should have said something 100 times before. But confrontation with Celeste was like fighting fog. She could twist any concern into an attack on her, any boundary into evidence of my controlling nature. After 3 years, I'd learned it was easier to go quiet, to shrink. Dr. Okonkwo called it conflict avoidance, rooted in childhood patterns. I called it survival. We were both right. After the restaurant, I drove to my brother Devin's place. "You actually did it?" He handed me a beer. "Thought you'd back out again." "Thanks for the vote of confidence." "I mean," he shrugged, "you've almost left before. Remember last Christmas?" I remembered. She'd made a scene at his wife's dinner party, loudly criticized the food, then sobbed in the car about how nobody in my family liked her. I'd been ready to end it. Then she spent 3 days being the Celeste I fell in love with, thoughtful, funny, present, and I'd convinced myself I'd overreacted. This time's different. What changed? I stared at the beer. I saw her laughing at me, not with me, at me, and I realized she probably always has been. I just didn't want to see it. Devin didn't argue. That told me everything. So what's the plan? I laid it out. The Portland job started in 2 weeks. I'd move Saturday, day after tomorrow, while she was at her usual brunch with Jade. Take only what was mine. Leave the furniture she'd picked out, the decorations, the life she'd assembled in my apartment using my money. She's gonna lose it, Devin said. Probably. You ready for that? I wasn't, but I was less ready for another 3 years of becoming invisible in my own life. Friday was surreal. Celeste came home at 3 a.m. after the restaurant, tried to slip into bed like nothing happened. I felt her hand on my back. Babe, you awake? I kept my breathing steady. I'm sorry about earlier. Her voice was soft, the voice that used to make everything okay. Let me make it up to you this weekend. I didn't move. Eventually, she sighed and rolled away. In the morning, she made pancakes, humming, kissed my cheek like the past 12 hours hadn't happened. So, where are we doing our makeup dinner? Your pick. There isn't one. Come on, Marcus, don't be like that. I meant what I said last night. We're done. The spatula stopped mid-flip. You're still on that? I apologized. When? Last night. You were asleep, but nothing. I'm packing this weekend. You should look for a new place. The mask cracked. Not all the way, but enough. You're not breaking up with me. Her voice was flat. And I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. It's my apartment, my name on the lease. You've never paid rent. Because we agreed. You suggested and I didn't argue. Not the same thing. Unbelievable. She threw the spatula into the sink. You're doing this because I was late to dinner. One time. You know it's not one time. You know I've been weird lately. Distant. Secretive. Your eyes narrowed. Is there someone else? No. Then what is this really about? I could have given her the list. Every forgotten plan, every dismissed feeling, every time she made me feel small for having needs. But I knew how it would go. She'd have a counter for everything, an excuse, a reframe, a way to make me the villain. I'm not happy, I said. I haven't been for a long time. That's enough. She stared at me like I was speaking another language. That's it? You're unhappy? Welcome to life, Marcus. Everyone's unhappy. You think walking away fixes that? I don't know, but I know staying makes it worse. Her expression flickered through several emotions before landing on cold. Fine, have your little tantrum, but I'm not leaving. You want to go? Go. But this apartment is as much mine as yours. I've put in the emotional labor. I've built a life here. Try to kick me out and I'll make things very difficult for you. Okay. Okay, that's all you have to say? I have to get to work. I grabbed my keys. At the door, I turned back. When I leave this weekend, I won't be coming back. Not because I don't care, because I care too much about myself, finally. She didn't respond, just stood there in the kitchen, surrounded by cooling pancakes, looking like she was trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. I texted Devin from the car. Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., bring the truck. Saturday, 5:45 a.m., Devin and 2 friends I'd known since college arrived quietly. I'd packed the essentials throughout the week, clothes in garbage bags hidden in my car trunk, documents, laptop, the external hard drive with family photos. Now came the bigger things. We worked fast. My desk from before I'd met her, the gaming setup she'd exiled to a corner, books she'd called clutter, the boxes I'd stored at Bedden's a year ago when Celeste needed more space. At 7:15, she woke up. She came out in pajamas, hair wild, face creased with sleep. For a moment, she just stood there, trying to process the scene. 3 strangers dismantling her living room. Her fiancé, ex-fiancé, directing traffic. What the hell is happening? I told you I was leaving. You said this weekend. It's 7 in the morning. It's the weekend. She looked at Devin. You're helping him with this? Seriously? Devin kept moving a box. Didn't make eye contact. Smart. Marcus, she was trying for calm, but her voice was shaking. Can we please just talk like adults? Part of me wanted to. The part that remembered her crying after her dad's death 3 months into our relationship. The part that remembered road trips where she'd sing off-key to every song. The part that still loved the person she used to be, or the person I thought she was. We've talked for 3 years. I'm done talking. So you're just gonna, what, disappear? Run away? I'm not running. I'm leaving. There's a difference. Where are you even going? You can't afford. I got a job in Portland. Start Monday. Her face went white. Portland? Oregon? Yeah. When were you going to tell me? I'm telling you now. She laughed, but it was high and wrong. Oh my God, you planned this. You've been planning this for how long? Weeks? While you were sleeping next to me? Eating my food? Acting like everything was normal? The accusation stung because it was true. I had been acting, surviving, waiting for an exit I was too scared to believe in. You're right. I wasn't honest about my plans. I'm sorry for that. You're sorry? You're sorry? But I'm not sorry for leaving. I should have done it a long time ago. The moving went faster than I had expected. By 9 a.m., we were loading the last boxes. The apartment looked wrong without my stuff, half empty, mismatched, like a stage set struck mid-performance. Celeste had retreated to the bedroom to make phone calls. I could hear her crying, talking to someone in rapid bursts. Probably Jade, maybe her mom. I left an envelope on the counter. Lease information, landlord's contact, a brief clinical explanation of her options. At the door, I paused, looked back at the apartment that had been my home for 4 years, the last 2 increasingly less mine. Celeste appeared in the hallway, eyes red, makeup smeared. You're really doing this? Yeah. You never thought I would. She said it quietly, almost impressed. I didn't think you had it in you. Neither did I. She took a step forward. This doesn't have to be permanent. You could take some time, clear your head. We could try couples therapy. I know I'm not perfect, Marcus. I know I can be... She stopped, swallowed. I don't want to lose you. It might have been genuine. With Celeste, I could never fully tell. That was part of the problem. I used to be terrified of losing you. Now, I'm more afraid of what I'm losing by staying. I left before she could respond, climbed into Devon's truck, watched the building shrink in the side mirror. My hands were shaking. My chest felt hollow. I'd expected relief. Instead, I felt like I'd amputated something. Necessary surgery, maybe, but surgery still leaves scars. You okay? Devon asked. No, I said, but I think I will be. I hoped I wasn't lying.
Portland was supposed to be a fresh start. In the movies, that's how it works. You leave, you arrive, you become the person you were always meant to be. Montage of coffee shops and new friends and morning jogs. Reality was a studio apartment that smelled like the previous tenant's cigarettes. IKEA furniture I assembled wrong twice. Lying awake at 2 a.m. wondering if I'd made the biggest mistake of my life. The job was good, better than good, challenging, respectful, the kind of work that made me remember why I'd chosen this field. My manager, Sandra, noticed I was distracted the first week and simply said, "Whatever you're dealing with, it gets easier. Take the time you need. No prying, no judgment." I almost cried in my car after that. Wasn't used to people giving me space without demanding something in return. But the nights were hard. 3 years of sharing a bed with someone, even someone who made you feel invisible, leaves a phantom limb. I'd reach for her in my sleep, wake up to silence that felt louder than any argument. I started seeing a new therapist, Dr. Reeves. Older guy, glasses, looked like someone's kind grandfather. First session, I told him I'd left an emotionally abusive relationship. "That word, abusive," he said, "you hesitated before saying it. It feels traumatic. She never hit me, never threatened violence. What did she do?" I listed things, the dismissiveness, the gaslighting, the way she'd rewrite reality until I didn't trust my own memory. the slow erosion of everything that made me, me. "Do you think that's abuse?" he asked. "I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm just weak, that a stronger person would have handled it better." "Handled it how?" I didn't have an answer. "Marcus," he said gently, "leaving took strength. Don't minimize that." I wanted to believe him. Some days I almost did. Week 2. Celeste found my LinkedIn. The first message was almost professional. "Hi Marcus, I hope you're settling in well. I've had time to think and I'd really like to talk. No pressure." I didn't respond. 3 days later, "I know you're seeing these. Please, I deserve a conversation after 3 years." Then, "I've been doing a lot of self-reflection. I know I wasn't perfect. I'm willing to work on things if you are." Then, "Are you seriously ignoring me? After everything?" Then, at 3 a.m., "You're a coward. You know that? A pathetic, spineless coward who runs away instead of facing problems. I gave you the best years of my life, and this is how you repay me?" Then, an hour later, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I'm just hurting. Please talk to me." I screenshotted everything, showed Dr. Reeves. "This is a pattern," he said. "Push, pull. She's testing which approach will break through." What do I do? What do you want to do? Part of me wants to respond, explain myself, make her understand. And the other part knows it wouldn't matter, that she'd twist it into something else. Which part are you going to listen to? I blocked her. She created a new account within hours. Really mature, Marcus, blocking me like I'm some stranger? Blocked that too. Then the calls started. My mom phoned on a Thursday, voice heavy with concern. "Marcus, I just talked to Celeste. She's devastated. What happened?" "We broke up. I told you that." "She said you abandoned her, left her homeless with no warning." "I gave her 2 months. She's not on the lease. She hasn't paid rent in 2 years." Silence. "She didn't mention that," Mom said slowly. "No, she wouldn't." "But why didn't you try to work things out? Relationships take effort, honey. Your father and I—" "Mom, I tried for 3 years. I'm done trying." She didn't push after that, but I could hear the doubt in her voice. That was Celeste's gift. She could make anyone question what they knew. The friends were harder. Aaron texted saying Celeste had reached out, that she seemed really broken up, and maybe we could all talk. When I told him about the harassment, the late-night messages, the account hopping, he went quiet. "I didn't know it was like that," he said. "Yeah, most people don't." Sarah was less understanding, called me cruel for ghosting Celeste instead of having a real conversation. When I tried to explain, she cut me off. "She's not perfect, Marcus, but neither are you. You could at least have the dignity to help her get on her feet." "I'm not responsible for her anymore." Wow, cold. She didn't call again. I lost 3 friends that month, people who'd known me for years, who took her word over mine without question. It hurt more than I expected. Dr. Reeves said that was normal. Abusers are often charming to outsiders. That's how they operate. The people who see through it will stay. The others were really my friends? Were manipulated, just like you were. Small comfort. Week 4. The Amazon charges. I got notifications for purchases I didn't make. Logged in to find $2,800 in pending orders, clothes, makeup, electronics, all shipping to my old address. She'd never been removed from my account. I canceled everything, changed passwords, removed payment methods. An hour later, my phone rang. Unknown number. "What the hell, Marcus?" Celeste's voice, ragged. "You canceled my orders? Your orders? On my account? With my money? You owe me 3 years of my life. The least you can do is—" "I don't owe you anything."
I have nothing. Do you understand that? No job, no savings, no apartment, and you're sitting in Portland with your fancy new life. You quit your job. You spent your money. You had 2 months to find a place. Because I thought you'd come back. She was crying now. I thought you'd realize you were wrong, that we'd fix this. Part of me softened, the part that remembered holding her when she cried about her father, the part that still, against all logic, cared. Celeste, please, just a little help, enough to get me through the month. I can't. Can't or won't? Both. The crying stopped. When she spoke again, her voice was ice. Fine. You want to play it like this? Let's play. She hung up. 3 days later, I got a credit monitoring alert. Someone had applied for a credit card in my name, used my social, my old address. I froze my credit immediately, filed a fraud report, added it to the documentation I was building. But it shook me. She had my social security number, my information, and she was desperate enough to use it. The workplace incident happened the following Tuesday. Security called my desk. Mr. Thompson, there's a woman in the lobby, says she's your wife, says there's an emergency. My stomach dropped.
When I came downstairs, she was pacing by the reception desk. 6-hour drive. She'd driven 6 hours. She looked terrible, thinner than I remembered, dark circles under her eyes, hair unwashed. Marcus, she moved toward me. Thank God, I've been so worried. What are you doing here? We need to talk, please, just 5 minutes. You drove 6 hours to ambush me at work? Because you won't answer my calls. You won't respond to anything. What choice do I have? People were staring. Security was watching. You need to leave. I'm not leaving until we talk. Celeste, don't. Her voice cracked. Don't act like I'm crazy. I loved you. I still love you. And you just threw it away over nothing. It wasn't nothing. One dinner, Marcus. I was late to one dinner. For a moment, I saw her the way a stranger might. A woman in love, desperate, willing to drive 6 hours for a conversation. The villain in my story might be the victim in hers. But then I remembered every ignored text, every rewritten reality, every time I shrank myself to make room for her. I'm sorry you're hurting, but this isn't okay. Showing up at my job isn't okay. The messages, the Amazon charges, the credit card, none of it is okay. She stopped, changed tactics. I just need to talk. One conversation. Then I'll leave you alone, I promise. No. Please. Security, I said, loud enough to be heard. She needs to leave. She grabbed my arm. Marcus, don't do this. They stepped forward. She let go. You're going to regret this, she said, quiet now, almost sad. We could have had everything. They escorted her out. I watched through the glass as she walked to her car, sat there for 10 minutes, finally drove away. I spent the rest of the day in HR explaining, providing documentation, showing the messages, the fraud alerts, the pattern. We take this seriously, Sandra said. Her photo will go to all security desks. If she comes back, we call the police. That night, I filed for a restraining order, sat in my apartment with the paperwork, and felt nothing like victory, just tired. So incredibly tired.
The restraining order was granted 3 weeks later. Temporary at first, then permanent after the hearing. Celeste showed up to court with a lawyer she couldn't afford, later learned her parents had paid. She dressed carefully, looked put together, nothing like the woman who'd ambushed me at work. When the judge reviewed my evidence, the messages, the fraud attempts, the credit monitoring alerts, the workplace incident, she cried softly into a tissue. I just wanted to talk to him, she said. He was my fiancé. I didn't understand why he left. Her lawyer painted a picture of a woman blindsided by abandonment, devoted girlfriend, plans for a wedding. a future stolen without explanation. Part of me wondered if she believed it, if she'd rewritten history so completely that she was now the victim of her own story. The judge granted the order anyway. No contact, no approaching my workplace or residence. Violation meant jail time. Outside the courthouse, her mother found me. "You've destroyed her," she said. "Whatever she did, she didn't deserve this. She committed fraud. She stalked me across state lines. Because she loved you. That's not love. You don't know what love is." She said it with such certainty. "She gave you everything and you threw it away for, what, your pride?" I could have argued, explained, justified. Instead, I said, "I hope she gets help. I really do." And I walked away. The months that followed weren't the triumphant fresh start I'd imagined. I threw myself into work, made acquaintances, not friends. Portland was friendly but guarded, everyone already locked into their social circles. I went on 3 dates that went nowhere, spent too many weekends alone cleaning an apartment that didn't need cleaning. Some nights I missed her, not the person she'd become, but the one I'd fallen for, the woman who'd made me laugh on our first date until my stomach hurt, who'd stayed up all night with me when my grandmother died, not saying anything, just being there, who'd looked at me once like I was the most important person in the world. That woman might have been an act, or she might have been real once before something in her twisted. I'd probably never know. I called my mom more often, told her things I'd kept hidden, how small Celeste had made me feel, how I'd lost myself piece by piece. Mom cried, "Why didn't you tell me?" I didn't know how. I didn't even realize how bad it was until I left. "I'm so sorry, honey. I should have seen it." She made sure no one did. Slowly, things improved. The apartment started feeling like mine. I got a coffee table I actually liked. Started running in the mornings, not for health, but for the quiet. Made one real friend, a coworker named James who'd been through something similar, recognized the look in my eyes. "It gets better," he said over beers one night. "Not all at once, but it does." When? Different for everyone. For me, about a year. One morning, I woke up and realized I hadn't thought about her in 3 days. That's when I knew. I held on to that. 6 months after leaving, I heard through mutual friends that Celeste had moved back with her parents. The apartment, my old apartment, had been taken over by new tenants. She'd been evicted after failing to pay rent for 2 months. The influencer dream had collapsed. The MLM scheme that followed hadn't worked out either. Last anyone heard, she was working part-time retail, living in her childhood bedroom, still posting occasionally about being an entrepreneur, about haters and fake friends, about a man who'd ruined her life. I read one of those posts, just one. It described me as a narcissist who'd abandoned her without warning, who'd taken everything and left her with nothing, who manipulated the system to get a restraining order. The comments were supportive. "Stay strong, Queen. His loss. Karma will get him." I should have felt vindicated. Instead, I felt sad. Not for me, for her. Because I knew in a way she probably never would, that she'd keep living this story, keep casting herself as the victim, keep sabotaging relationships and blaming everyone else. That was her prison, and I'd finally found the door out of mine.
A year later, I was sitting in a coffee shop when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. "Marcus?" The voice was familiar, thinner, tired. "Celeste." Silence. Then, "I know I'm not supposed to call. I've been in therapy, real therapy, and I needed to say something. I should have hung up, should have reported the violation. Instead, I waited. I'm sorry," her voice broke, "for all of it. The way I treated you, the things I did after. I told myself I was the victim, but I wasn't. I pushed you away and then punished you for leaving. That wasn't fair. I didn't know what to say. I'm not asking you to forgive me," she continued, "or to come back, or anything like that. I just needed you to know that I understand now. What I did, why you left. More silence. I hope you're happy, Marcus. I really do. The line went dead. I sat there for a long time, coffee getting cold, the weight of 3 years, of everything after, pressing down and then, slowly, lifting. I reported the call, didn't press charges, told the lawyer I just wanted it documented. Dr. Reeves asked how I felt about it. I don't know, I said. Sad? Relieved? Hopeful, maybe, that she's actually getting help. And for yourself? I thought about it. I used to think leaving was about escaping her, but it wasn't really. It was about finding me again, the person I was before I started shrinking. And have you found him? I'm getting there. 2 years now since the restaurant, since I watched her laugh at my text through a window and felt something finally break, not my heart, but the lock on my cage. I'm not the same person who drove away that night. I'm scarred in places, more cautious than I'd like to be. Trust doesn't come easy anymore. Sometimes I catch myself expecting disappointment, bracing for disrespect that never comes. But I'm also stronger. I know what I need. I know what I won't accept. I have boundaries now, real ones, not the lines in sand that Celeste washed away whenever she wanted. I'm seeing someone. Her name is Maya. It's early, careful, nothing like the whirlwind with Celeste. We talk about hard things without screaming. She shows up when she says she will. When I told her about my past, she didn't run, just held my hand and said, "Thank you for trusting me." Small things, enormous things. I think sometimes about what Celeste said that night outside Terrazzo. You'll regret it if you ever leave. She was wrong, but not entirely. I regret the years I lost, the friends who believed her lies, the version of myself I'll never fully recover, the one who trusted easily, who believed the best in people without evidence. I regret that it took so long, that I made excuses, absorbed blame, convinced myself that love meant suffering. But leaving? Walking away from someone who made me feel worthless while telling me I was lucky to have her? That I will never regret. Some doors are meant to close. Some weights are meant to be dropped. Some people can only love you if you stay small enough to need them. I'm done being small.
Here's the thing about stories like this. They don't end when the video ends. Right now, someone's watching this in a relationship that's crushing them. Someone's 3 months out and wondering if they made a mistake. Someone's years removed and still healing. If that's you, you're not alone. The comments section isn't just comments. It's people, real ones who've walked this road. So here's my ask. If you've been through this, share one piece of advice. One thing you wish someone had told you. And if you're still in it, read those comments. Let them be the voice you're not hearing at home. Subscribe for more stories that matter. And remember, walking away from someone who makes you small isn't giving up. It's finally choosing yourself.